However, there's one last thing we need to do. And that last thing is we need to search the 5th row for the user number. So to do this, well, we need to get user input, meaning we're going to need a scanner. We'll do a scanner. We'll call this scan, and we'll set this equal to a new scanner. We're going to call this system.in for input string, and I'm actually going to call this input just because it's a more fitting name. And then we'll close this off. We're going to import scanner, and that's going to be imported up there, java.util.scanner. So we'll come back down here, and then we're going to prompt the user for something. So we'll do sysout, and we're going to say, well, let's scroll down here to see what the output is. What number are you searching for in the 5th row? So we can just copy this, paste this in here, and we'll leave a space. We're going to change this to a print, that way the user's answer will be on the same line. We're going to come here, and then we're going to make a value to store this. We'll call this int answer, and we're setting this equal to input.nextInt, so it'll grab the next int. And from here, what we're going to want to do is we're going to put this into our search. We're going to search for this, so we're going to need a searching method. And matter of fact, we don't actually need to store this in here. Instead, we could take the input.next, and we can pass it straight to the sorting, or sorry, it should be sort. That's the name of our instance right here. Sort dot, and we'll make a method called search, and we'll pass this inside of here, and we'll close it off once we get out of the actual method itself. So we'll hover over this, create our search method. It will create it right here. I do not want that, so I'm just going to cut that, and then we're going to come at the very bottom right here, and we're going to paste it in, and we're going to work on this. But before we work on that, it's important to do the documentation for all of this. So above our bubble sort, our parameter is the array to be sorted, and then we're going to say up here bubble sort method for the column. And then we can really just copy this and do it for every single row. And this is going to be selection sort. And we can add that sorts and prints the array. That's a little bit more specific. So we'll add that in. And then I'm going to copy this in here, paste this in here, change this to selection sort. We're going to come down to the next one, which is shell sort. We're going to change this to shell. And then we're going to come down here with insertion sort and do insertion. And then we're going to come down to our search. So we'll write our search, and then we'll do a Java doc for it. So inside of here, we're going to want to make a binary search. It's asking us for a binary search, so we're going to have to code a binary search for it. So a binary search, as a refresher, basically uses a minimum, a middle, and a max value. And if our list is sorted, which it is, we have it sorted right here. If we run it, we'll see. We have it sorted right here. We are going to look through this. We're going to look at our mid, and we're going to look at our max, and we're going to look at our middle, and we're going to see if our middle is greater, smaller, or equal to. So we're going to have 3 cases inside of a while loop. So we're going to do int min, and our min, we're going to set it equal to 0. And then inside of here, well, we are going to say, well, actually, we can do this on the same line. We'll set max equal to the column minus 1. And so what we're saying is, well, minimum is equal to the 0th index, and that max is going to be equal to the column, which is 4 minus 1. Now, there is actually a slight issue. So we're passing in the next int. We also obviously need to pass in our array. Otherwise, we have nothing to look at. So we're going to do int bracket arr, and then we're going to come up back to the top where we call the method, and we're going to add in array like this. That way we can have our array passed in as well. So int min is equal to 0, and then max is equal to column minus 1. In our while loop, we're going to have a while. We're going to do while min is less than or equal to our max, and then we're going to be inside of here. So int mid is equal to, well, to find the average, the middle, we're going to do min plus our max, and this is going to be divided by 2. and then we're going to have our three cases. So if the array, and we're going to be looking at specific indexes, we're only going to be looking at row -1 because it's asking us for the fifth row. Fifth row is this fourth index. So we'll do row -1, and then inside of here, we're going to have the mid value. So we're going to look at the middle column. And if this is less than our next int, well, that means that next int is greater than our middle. So we're going to need a new minimum value. We're going to set min equal to mid plus 1. We don't need to set it to the actual middle because it's obviously not the middle, and we can not include that. Otherwise, we'll be in this else if statement. It's going to be very similar to this. So we'll paste this in here. And if this is greater than our next int, or if our next int is less than this, that means we need a new max. So we're going to set max equal to mid minus 1. And so those are those. And then we're going to have an else statement. And this else statement is simply going to print our value. Or not the value, we want to print the whole column. So to print the whole column, we're going to need a for loop just like this. We'll do for int c is equal to 0, and we'll do, well, I did x here, but x works. So we'll do x is less than our column, because we're going to print it out for the whole, wait, I'm sorry, not column. We want to print it out for the whole row. Because remember, we're going to print this row, this row, this row, and this row, and then this row. But we're only going to be printing out it for the middle column. So we're going to do x plus plus, and then we're going to be inside of our for loop. And inside of our for loop, we're just going to do a sysout. We're going to do our array. We're going to have our x value, because that is our row, and then a row is going to be incrementing. So the first time we're going to print out the value in this row, which would be, if we look at 9, we're going to print out 3. Look at this row, we're printing out 8. Looking at this row, we'll do 7. This row 5, and this row 9. So we have it like this. Our next value is going to just be the mid value. And so that is that. Now, if we don't ever find our value, we will break out of our while loop. And before, well, if we find our value, we don't need to go through our while loop anymore. So what we can do is throw a return. And this will return us back to the program. And we won't need to go through the while loop anymore. Now, if we don't find it, we're going to be down here. And we can just simply output sysout column not found. So let's test this out after this is correctly written in parentheses. So we'll go back up here, and we have this written out, and we can run it. So I'll move this over, press run, and it has run. And we're asked what number are we searching for in the fifth row. Let's try out 9. This is going to print out 38759, which is what we're looking for. Let's run it again. Let's say we're searching for 4. Well, that is not good, because we do definitely have a 4 here. Maybe I pressed the space. Let's try running it again. 4, it says column not found. So that is an issue. We'll go down and we'll try to debug it. And after looking over my code for quite some while, there's nothing wrong with our search, nothing wrong with the insertion sort, and nothing wrong with the other arrays. But there is something wrong with me. And that is because after the insertion part, remember, if we come up to the instructions, we are not resetting, or we're not going to reset the array back to the original contents. We only do this before each thing. So in setting our array equal to temp, resetting it, what we're doing is effectively we're resetting our array, and this is messing with the search code. So we shouldn't have this in there. And as a matter of fact, we don't even need this temp right here. We can have it though, because we're just saying temp is equal to sort.copy, which I'll leave in there. So if we run it again, and then I click in 4 and press enter, we get our row. Just to make sure, we're going to try it with every single one, make sure we have no errors. We have 7, we have 9, and lastly, or actually, we'll have 10, and lastly, we'll try something that's not in there. We'll try a good number, we'll call it 450, and we'll say column not found. So we've done it. We've completed the output. We've made our methods. We have the sorting class inside of here. So we have the sorting, we have initial array. And now we're done with the instructions. We can full screen this and look over the entire code. So this is the driver class that we have. We made an initial array 5x4. We could have easily taken user input and put it in here, but we hard coded this per the instructions. And now we have our main method, and this is going to output everything. Really, the main method is just kind of a holder for all of our methods for the instance of our sorting class. We have all this done. We have our class sorting. We have these private values. We have our default constructor where we set these values. We have our toString, which looks really nice. We have the copy, which also looks really nice. In fact, the whole code looks nice. We have our bubble sort right here. And then we have our selection sort right there. We have our shell sort. We have our insertion sort. And lastly, we have the search, which we can make a comment for. The parameter is the next int passed in by the user. And then the parameter array is the array to be searched. So what we're doing in here is we are searching for the column. We are searching and printing for the column that has the next int. And so this is our code complete. And that is how you would code this assignment and get the correct output. P.S. With this scanner, it is good practice to close our scanner. That way we don't have any resource leakage. So we need to do input dot, and then we're going to do close. And this will close our scanner. Not necessarily super important to this program, but it's good to note and it's good practice.